Hi, my name is Melanie. Your name is?
My name is Sal.
Oh, nice to meet you, Sal. You enjoying your day today so far?
Yes, having a good day.
Oh, good, good. Would you like some water or anything to drink?
I'm good, thank you.
Are
I
you
just
sure?
had coffee.
Well,
Thank
if you change your mind, I have some bottled water over here for
you.
you. So, yeah, well, first, I'm glad you came to join me today. First, I need to do a confidentiality agreement with you. All it's just stating that if I fear that you're going to harm yourself or somebody else, um, or a child's at risk, I will have to report it. Or if I'm subpoenaed or you're subpoenaed by the courts, also I'd have to disclose information about what we talk about today. Um, and also if there's any issues of homicide or criminal activity, imminent criminal activity. Unfortunately, I have to break the confidentiality. But otherwise, everything we discuss today is completely confidential between the two of us. Um, do you understand?
Yes.
Fantastic. So now tell me, what brings you here today?
Well, I have a son that I adopted a few years ago from Sudan at
Yeah.
the camps. I was working in Africa, and then I came in contact with some friends that were doing the same thing, adopting. So I also, took up this beautiful, nice kid, and he's with me here in Ottawa, and I'm living with him since then, and everything was going well until recently. I have started to notice some changes.
Okay.
He's been distancing himself from me, and I seems to notice that he's very comfortable with his peers, his friends at school,
Mm-hmm.
but when he comes home, me or my wife, it's very difficult to reach to him. My wife is not from where I came from. She's from the side of the world, and I don't have the culture with him. I was trying to integrate him. We're living the culture here,
Mm-hmm.
but I find that there is a distance,
Okay.
and this has not been the issue. Like I didn't notice this in the past. It's just recently, and I'm here
Okay.
to get some help.
So you're worried that him distancing from you is causing a rift in your relationship?
That's right. Yes. I feel that I am losing him.
Okay.
And, or if it continues this way, I will lose him because I know he knows I'm not his father, and he also knows that he have a history. Sometimes he used to tell me about his life in the refugee camps.
Okay.
And now, I mean, we used to get along everything, but nowadays I think that kind of thinking is coming back. So
Oh,
I really don't want to lose him.
I'm
He's a
really
good
sorry to
kid.
hear that. It must be really difficult on you and your wife, and your son, who clearly has gone through some difficult times, and it must be difficult to a time to be going through. Um, I feel really bad for you that this is happening, but I would just like to ask a few questions to really get understanding of your family. How old is your son?
My son is 13.
13 years
Yes,
old.
yes.
Okay. And what's his name?
Eric.
Eric.
Yes.
And your wife's name?
Linda.
Linda. Okay. Now I'm just going to. I forgot a pen. Let me grab one. And all right. So it's Linda and Eric. And Eric is you said 13 years
Yes,
old,
13.
and he's from Sudan.
Yes.
And where's your wife from?
My wife is from Canada here.
Okay, she's Canadian. Okay. And you are from?
I'm from Gambia.
And you're from Gambia. Okay. Well, 13 years old is a very interesting stage because typically children between the age of 12 and 19, or the youth, I should say, go through what's called like a role confusion identity formation, where they're exploring their sense of self and trying on new roles. And it's quite common that you're saying that he's focusing a lot on his peers, that they tend to drift towards their peers, and may drift away from their parents for a little bit. while they're trying on these new roles, social identity roles. But my fears, I just out of curiosity, do you think that he'd potentially be doing drugs or drinking alcohol? Have you noticed any like really
No,
different behaviors?
I go through his things.
Mm-hmm.
I smell him, like I always am very sensitive to those things because I know it's one of the things that can wreck entirely the whole family. So I'm very, very sensitive to those things. I go all over the place. I look at these things to see if there is anything there that I can, at least say that this is leading to that. But I couldn't find. And in general, he's a good kid. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. But tell me something. You mentioned about the age between 12 and 19. You said confusion. He's confused.
Well, it's hard to say. It's not. You can't take it as very seriously, but more like he's just exploring his sense of self. He's
Okay.
becoming an adult. He's transitioning to an adult role,
Okay.
and so sometimes kids might take a step back from their parents just to have some independence and try on new roles as a youth. But I just want to make sure that because he has come from Sudan, you mentioned that he might have some memories. So, and you said something about a refugee camp.
Yes, the refugee camp. That's where he was. That's where
Okay.
it was the last place where I took him from.
Because from what I know about Sudan is that they had a genocide
They had a war, yes.
in a war,
Yes.
and so he was affected by the war.
I don't know what happened to his parents because the agency that facilitated my adoption
Okay.
never went into detail.
Okay.
But I think also at the time everybody wanted was to to save those children, get them out of those camps and bring them to where they can have safety and security, and because they are kids full of potential, and giving them a second chance or a new life will help them absolutely. So and that was one of the reasons I wanted to change. I needed a kid. I didn't have a kid.
Okay.
So I said I will take him and then have a bond with him.
Yeah.
My friends, they have their kids. They are very close, but for me, maybe I'm looking at it that way. But those are biological parents, but mine is not. I adopted, so maybe there's this kind of
Well, it sounds like you love him very much. Like you've come here today to talk about him and to explore what we can do to, help you through this little bit of a developmental crisis that he's going through because he is changing, going through stages of life, and you're adapting, and so is he. Um, Now, is your wife aware and your son aware that you're here today talking to me?
No, my wife knows, but my son didn't.
He doesn't
Because
know.
I didn't want him to think that there's a problem, as like he causing problem.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want him to think that he's causing problems because I
Okay.
don't want to blame him. I don't want him to feel that he's being blamed.
Okay.
So I came here just to see what you guys can offer me, what advice. Maybe I'm doing things wrong. I'm a new dad. It's only 5 years since I had him. So.
Well, I think from what it sounds like is that you're doing everything right. Like I said, you're coming here today and expressing your emotions and your feelings towards it, and your wife clearly she knows that you're here. So, parenting is difficult. There's no right or wrong answers for everything. We all make choices. And I think from the sounds of it, you're making great choices coming here today and exploring some new ideas on how hopefully get your son. Make sure he stays on the right track. And
That's right.
so now, does he have any networks with the Sudanese community?
No, that's one thing that's missing. I know this, like when I was doing the adoption, they told me that the Sudanese communities are all over because of the issues that happened in Sudan. So they have communities all over the West. They've been they've been given asylum.
Okay.
But it's hard to find a community. I checked online, I couldn't find, and maybe you can help me.
Well, definitely. There's some church groups. I know that the Sudanese. There is a Christian church group. I don't know if you're Christian yourself or if your son is. We could always get you in contact with them, and so at least he can have some links towards his background. That might help too. Some positive support. Also, we have a family service office that helps with counseling. So maybe that's something you might want to explore. I also would have just a concern that make sure that he has dealt with his past of living in a refugee camp and coming from a war torn country, that he is developing at his optimum potential emotionally, intellectually, and physically. So they might be able to give counseling to your son and your family as a whole to make sure that you guys progress throughout these stages of his life. And
I really think that would be helpful because I always think of talking to him about his background in the in Sudan and all that, but I don't think I'm prepared. So, and I think one of the reasons I'm here is for you to help me so that I'll be in a position to say it without having to break down, or when he breaks down, I can comfort him and all of those things. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I just think that maybe the one-on-one counseling and maybe some family counseling as a whole, to understand what he's gone through, because I'm sure it's a difficult thing that he's gone through, and we can't even imagine. He was such a young child at the time, but he went through some difficult times. So hopefully, okay, so we'll get you those resources.
Okay.
How is he doing in school?
Well, he's doing well. His grades are still constant, and that's one
Okay.
of the risk indicators that tells me that he is not on drugs or taking alcohol and stuff. Because his grades are good. It's
Good.
just the distance between the distance I'm observing. Maybe I'm just making up things.
Okay.
But I think that it's not the same.
Okay.
And I want, before anything goes fall apart, I really want to engage.
Yeah,
that,
make sure he's on the right path.
relationship with him, yeah.
Okay, I think for today then, what we can do is I'll give you the number for the Sudanese community church group, and also the family services organization. And you can make an appointment to maybe go get your family to see a family counselor,
Okay.
and also a counselor just for your son. Now, I would like to follow up with you just to make sure that everything's going smoothly. And I don't know if you're free sometime, we can say give you 2 weeks and make these appointments. And you can come back here. Is it close for you to come here? Like, do you live near here?
Yeah. It's not far from.
It's not far from here?
And
Because if it's more convenient, I can even go to your house.
well, I will welcome you anytime.
Yeah.
My wife would be glad for you to come there. But again, if you want me to come back here with my family, that's fine too.
Yeah.
But, the call is yours. I can come here, or you can come.
Well, you know what? Maybe I can come to your house, and so you're in your own environment, and your son might not feel so put in a spot. He can be in the comfort of his own home. So how about we plan the next meeting that I go to your house, and maybe we can have a little talk there. Does that sound good?
That
Okay.
would be great.
So here's my business card with my name and the date, and I'll just get your address. Just leave it with my secretary, your address and your details, and you can make the appointment for next week, and
No
we'll
problem.
set out there.
I will work it out with them, and then we'll set up a day that
Great.
you will come and
Well-
meet our family.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming, and I hope you have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you.